So it's not really anything new here in the opener. We're just reviewing solving equations. Everything we're doing right now is with integers. Remember, we've been doing fractions this week, but all these equations here are only dealing with integers. Even this one right here doesn't really have to do with fractions because that's not really a fraction problem, because it's really a division problem that to solve we're going to have to use multiplication. So we don't have to worry about fractions on any of these. There are two things that we're going to do before we start solving each one of these. What are those two things? Circling the variable. So I'll just do that in one of these here to show. Why do we circle the variable? For this one, why are we circling that w? Because we want to get the w by itself. So it's just a reminder, I want to get that variable by itself. What else are we going to do? The line of equality. So we draw that line through the equal sign. Now, I don't really have enough space here to draw it long enough. But that line of equality is a reminder that whatever you do on one side, you have to do on the other. All right? You want to make sure that when you draw that line of equality, it's long enough so that your answer is also on the line of equality. If you don't do that, you're not going to be getting full credit. All right, so on this first one here, we want to get the w by itself, so we'll circle that. And we're going to draw our line of equality through the equal sign. I'm going to draw it nice and long so I make sure I get, it's long enough to get my answer on there. And then to get the w by itself, what am I going to have to do? I'm going to have to add 1. So by adding 1 here, that's the opposite of the minus 1. That's going to get rid of the negative 1 on this side, and it's going to get the w by itself, which is our goal. The only problem is if I add 1 over here to get rid of that minus 1, I also have to add 1 on the other side. So we add 1 to both sides. That's a 7. All right, so we add 1 on both sides. The 1's over here cancel, leaving what?
Negative 6.
The w by itself. And then on the other side, we've got a negative 7 and a positive 1. So we have negatives and positives. Are they going to combine or cancel? They're going to cancel. So we subtract. 7 minus 1 is 6. And why is it negative?
Because the 7 is bigger.
The 7's bigger and the 7's negative. So when we're combining these, or when they're canceling, there are going to be more negatives than positives, so there's negatives left over in the end. All right. Second one, we want to solve for x. So we circle the x, we draw our line of equality, and what do we have to get rid of? The 6. Now how are we going to get rid of that? Subtract 6 from both sides. All right, so on the right side, the 6's cancel, leaving what? And on the left side, we have a positive 4 and a negative 6. So we have positives and negatives again, which means they're going to combine or cancel. Cancel and get?
Negative 2.
Negative 2, good. So when we have the 4 positives cancel with 4 of the negatives, there's 2 negatives left over. Our answer is negative 2. All right, this one, we want to get the y by itself. And we got to draw our line of equality. So to get the y by itself, we're going to have to get rid of. All right, and how are we going to get rid of the plus 29? We'll subtract 29. Okay, don't forget we need to do it on both sides. I'm going to make sure I line up the 10s and the 1s places so that subtraction's nice and easy. 29's cancel, leaving what on the left side? Y. And on the right side, subtracting the 7 minus 9. We can't do that, so we'll borrow. So we borrow from the 1, make that a 0, and that becomes a 17. 17 minus 9 is 8. 0 minus 2, got to borrow again. So 2 becomes a 1, the 0 comes a 10. 10 minus 2 is 8. And then 1 minus nothing is that positive 188 or negative 188? Because? Yeah, the positive number is bigger, the 217. Now, you are allowed to use your calculator at this point. It would be okay if you did this problem by just punching that into the calculator and getting your answer. On the quiz that we're going to take today, it's okay if you do that. Although, it's not a bad idea to try to do the math anyway, just to keep the math fresh in your head. All right, so there might be times where you're going to have to subtract something and you won't have a calculator, so it's good to know how to do it.
Last time though.
We want to get that z by itself. We'll draw our line of equality. We need to get rid of this 48. How are we going to do that? We're going to add 48. So be careful here. This looks like an addition problem, but it's not really addition, even though we have a plus sign there. Why is it not really addition? Because the 48 is negative. So it's really subtraction. Because when you add a negative, that's subtracting. So the opposite of subtraction is adding. So we add 48 to both sides. Again, I'm going to line these up. 48's cancel, leaves z. On the left side, 1 plus 8 is 9. 7 plus 4 is 11. 1 plus 1 is positive or negative? Positive. That's easy, right? They're both positive. When we combine them, we get another positive. All right, 2 more. Next one, we want to get a by itself. What kind of problem is this? I know we said it already. It's a division problem. So to get rid of that 3, we're going to have to multiply. We'll multiply by 3. And if we multiply by 3 on the left, we have to multiply by 3 on the right. All right, so 3's cancel, leaving what on the left? A. And on the right, negative 7 times 3 is? Negative 21. Remember your rules for multiplying. All right, whenever you have a negative times a positive, you can multiply the numbers separately. So 7 times 3 is 21, but a negative times a positive is a negative. It's always a negative when one of the numbers is negative. If they were both negative, then it would be positive. All right, don't forget to box your answers. Probably don't want to box it like that because you can't read the 1, right? There we go. Okay, last one. What kind of problem is this one?
Multiplication.
It is multiplication. So to get rid of that negative 5, we're going to divide. A lot of people add here to get rid of the minus 5 because they see the negative 5 and they say the opposite of a negative 5 is a plus 5. Okay, be careful about that. And another common mistake is dividing by the wrong thing. What do we need to divide by here? Positive 5 or negative 5? Negative. All right, so this is b times negative 5. The only thing we have to do to get rid of it is change the operation. The number stays the same. So instead of multiplying by negative 5, we're going to divide by negative 5. Make sure you do that. All right, if you miss the sign because of this, then that would be bad. So when we divide by negative 5, those negatives cancel, those 5's cancel, and that leaves what on the left? B. And on the right side, 35 divided by 5 is?
Negative 7.
Well, 35 divided by 5 is? 7. So then why is it negative, Devin? Because one of them is positive and the other one is negative. So when you're dividing, just like when you're multiplying, if one number is positive, one number is negative, then the answer is going to be negative, always. Doesn't matter which one's bigger.